So for today's icebreaker, we are honoring Martin Luther King on his day. So happy Martin Luther King Day, guys. And thank you. So we're gonna do a quote or statement or whatever MLK effect he had on you or something along those lines. So I'm gonna just go with the quote, and then I'll toss it to Mom, and then Mom, you go to John afterwards. So the MLK quote that I like is, "Intelligence plus character is the true goal of education." I like that because it implies that education isn't self-serving. It increases your intelligence as well as your character, which I think is something that's overlooked. I think people try to get smarter just to get ahead, and not necessarily to be better people. But I think that is a residual effect that people don't expect from their education, is they're more competent and capable of helping others. So,
right.
He put it really, but he said it really nicely in that quote.
And what's his face? What was it? Sophocles? Is he the guy that said, what have I said? Of course.
What's his face?
The one you just
said. Of course.
No, I love that because I don't think people talk about character enough. I think it's been like 15 years since I've heard somebody say that word in relation to education, and they should. I
feel like that's something I heard every other day 15 years ago. I think that was something you instilled a lot of character while I was growing up. Character was a pretty big deal. So maybe they don't say it enough now just because you're not telling me over and over again to build character.
That's possible.
So now that you're, which character are you now?
Yeah, true that.
Right? That was my dad's favorite saying. It's anything that was happening that I didn't like, it builds character. It's like, we're out of peanut butter. It builds character. Okay.
Yep.
Go find something else. Right. Fine. But he's right. It's funny. Okay. Cool.
Okay, go on ahead.
All right. I have two. One for like personal life and the other one for business. And the one for personal life is hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And that one is, if somebody is driving you crazy, there is always something you can find about that person that you can appreciate. And that makes it so much easier to get along with them and everything else. So that's for life in general, not necessarily business, but it does kind of apply to business, because if you don't love what you're doing and you don't love the people that you're hanging with and you don't love the people that you're pouring energy on all the time, it's not going to work, right?
True that.
And the second one, go ahead.
You can't like fight fire with fire like that. I think it's a really good point. So.
Yeah, especially these days, you can't bring darkness to a dark fight. You have to bring a candle.
Yep.
And the one thing I like for business is, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving. And starting a business, as we all have, and getting through different things that happen, coronavirus, economic messes, everything else, there's always something you can do that will help. Even if you can't do what you had in mind to do today, there's something you can do to help your business.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I've felt that too. I've definitely felt like I've been crawling a lot of the times, and then there's like just sudden spurts of running that you don't expect. It's usually like grinding for weeks, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I'm like standing. Like it's never like, I don't know where you guys, I'm sure you guys have a little more experience with your business, but hopefully your running times are getting longer than those crawling times, because I feel like especially where I'm at right now, it's really tough to gain that momentum and to keep that and maintain it.
Right.
Cool. Great business quote. Good stuff.
Thank you. Your turn, John.
Well, I don't know the entire quote, but I like his "I have a dream" speech. it was just quite an interesting and thought-provoking thing when I heard it. So,
Good.
if I had to go with a second quote, it would be the one about the Paul just said.
Which one?
And then what's your second one on business?
Okay. Cool.
The latter. Yeah, it's cool that he's he says so many things where he's talking about grit and like stick-to-itiveness, but also compassion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we think these are contrary ideas or contrasting ideas. We think these things don't have as much in common. So I would imagine that it's hard to balance that. But if you're a preacher, like that's where your bread and butter is, right? Like you got to make sense of the world. So.
Oh yeah, and if you're in a marathon situation, where your goal is so far out there, you got to have both, so that you're not driving people away. You're able to collect a large tribe, as we all are. Maybe not for something quite as important as what he was doing, but it's a long slog, and you've got to keep those relationships, and you got to keep everybody going forward. So you need both. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think his I Have a Dream speech does that really well. Like has those both things, and I think that's why it's kind of a thing that people study. Growing up, that was one of the main things we did for MLK Day when I was back in school. So.
Right. So was he one of your most influential people? Was he one of your top 10 maybe?
Yeah, I can see him in the top 10 for sure.
Me too.
How about you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think the world's a better place for him being in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough to find people who can say that, without a doubt, the world was a better place because of this person. And I think you can say that with a lot of confidence when it comes to MLK.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right. Cool.